All right, so welcome to Rev Up Module 11. We're talking about winning the listing and negotiating the sale. I'm Tommy Watson. So I'm one of the owners with Realty One Group Revolution, also your instructor and South Carolina broker in charge. So some of the learning objectives we're going to go over this morning are the listing appointment, tips for winning sellers and securing the listing, marketing and servicing the listing, negotiating the sale. Yep, we're always negotiating, right? And let me just make sure I didn't skip anything. Okay, so we want to go ahead and start. We're in step 4 of the listing process. This is a continuation of last week's uh, Rev Up session. So let's talk about how we conduct the listing presentation and present the marketing and pricing strategies. So as I told you before, I like to use the terminology listing consult when I'm in front of the actual homeowner. The listing presentation is something that you use to market yourself with and send forward. The consultation is actually the meeting with the homeowner. And the reason I like to call it a consultation is because, look, when you're a business owner and you're consulting, it goes both ways. You're not just there trying to win the listing from the seller. You're also there to discern whether or not this is a good business opportunity or it fits your business plan for your specific real estate business. Now, why do I say that? Because look, in this business, you don't have to work with every client. There are some people that are going to be so far out of your lane, out of your willingness to compromise or whatever it is, that you're just going to have to let them go. Sometimes you'll find a seller who just thinks their house is $50,000 worth more than it is, and you're not going to get them to change their mind. So listing that property is futile. It will waste your time. They will be a time suck. Give me just a second. All right. That way you can't see me drinking my coffee. Okay, so as we like to say, the moment of truth is here. Here are 3 things that you guys, I want to put this in front of you because these are tools that are going to help you, okay, in the listing consultation. So number 1 is the pre-listing questionnaire. So why do we use a pre-listing questionnaire? Somebody unmute and tell me.
To gather information before the listing appointment.
Excellent. Why would you want to do that?
To be prepared.
Prepared. Awesome. What else?
You have a understanding of what the client wants.
Okay. And if you're going to that pre-listing if you're going to that listing consult, you need to take some things with you, right? And you can't take that information with you unless you have previous information. So we'll talk about that. This will help you. Who likes to research? You know what? I do too, when it's on my terms. No, so
I don't mind researching if I know what I'm looking for.
Oh, therein lies the key, Karen. So, hey.
Yes.
So your clients will not always give you the vital information you need, okay? Whether it's they're just withholding or they don't think about it. So you're going to have to be the one to think for them. You're going to have to tell them, excuse me, what you're looking for, okay? And look, and I'm coming off of a couple of weeks of having some issues with allergies. So if you hear me over here coughing and all that, that's what it is. I'm not dying. So anyway, research and preparation. And then the pre-listing package is what we're going to call it. What do you think the pre-listing package might be? Okay, then I'm going to tell you. So The reason you have the pre-listing questionnaire is to qualify your seller and gather the pertinent information to have in order to set the listing appointment. And then when you've done the preparation, which includes gathering information, visiting the community, taking a photo, and reviewing comps, you're going to be more prepared for that visit. And then also, you need to have created an effective pre-listing package and have delivered it to the client. We'll talk about that. In this market, that's not really happening probably most times, but it will set you apart from your competition. So let's talk about conducting the listing presentation or consultation, as I like to say it. So let's talk about the greeting and the outline of your presentation. By the way, if you attended the last session, we asked you to download the Realty One Group listing presentation template. If you don't know where that is, that's in, you go to One Login, then go to Design Center, and then there is a tab somewhere there. You can go to Zone as well, and I think you can go down to is that marketing? Anyway, I think you'll find it easier in Design Center. But anyway, download it, and what you can do, it's basically, it shows you where to fill in your information. You can change out the photos. I think their photos are great. Their one-liners are great. So just pop in your personal information and go with it. But it gives you, it's not just, look, it's not just a presentation for the sake of a presentation. It actually has key information that you need to share with your clients. All right, and then let me look here. Let's see. So just kind of backtracking, the listing appointment is going to be one of the most important aspects of your business. And if you've worked with buyers for a while, you will probably appreciate this. I'm just one of those guys. I started out as a buyer's agent for years. Then I turned my business more to a listing business. And I can tell you, I can breathe better with a larger percentage of listings than buyers. So, however, I will say this. Buyers can potentially bring you more money faster in your business, but by default, you're going to work with both. However, I am a believer that what you focus on expands. What you focus on will grow faster. So if you don't focus on your business at all, guess what's going to happen? You're going to tank. So you have to put a focus to it. You have to put some intentionality to it. So anyway, so it's one of the most important parts of your business. So it's crucial that you follow an effective and systematic plan. That's what we're giving you here. So you've worked hard to get to the appointment. Now we want to make sure that you win that listing, okay? So the listing presentation can be broken into 4 separate sections. The greeting and outline, and that's what the owners can expect you to cover, right, while you're there. Then the home tour and connecting with the client. Number 3, the presentation, including pricing and marketing strategies. Number 4 is closing for the listing and completing the paperwork. It's really important that you arrive early to the appointment. Now, when I say early, I don't mean 30 minutes early or even really 15 minutes early. However, early enough to drive around their property, around the block, and maybe even the community. Take note of any changes that are happening currently, okay? So a week ago when you got the call to go to the appointment, there may not have been a bulldozer at the entrance to the neighborhood, but there might be today, okay? So always drive around, know what's going on before you actually meet with somebody. If you arrive late, it could cost you the appointment, right? If you're meeting an analytical person and you're late, you probably already missed an opportunity with them. And I mean, it doesn't have to be just the analytical person, but they tend to be more worried about time management than anybody else. All right, so arrive a few minutes early, preview the neighborhood, dress to impress. Okay, I'll say that. Now, what does that mean? Okay, when I say dress to impress, ladies, we're not trying to impress the opposite sex. Men, we're not trying to impress the opposite sex, but you're trying to make an impression upon them that you're the business professional, that you're the market expert. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir because you guys are awesome. We have had a couple agents in our brokerage in the past that really dress to impress. I don't know what type of clientele, but I just want to tell you that's really not the way to grow a business. Unless that's the kind of clientele you want. So anyway, no more of that. So the home tour and connecting with the client, utilize the top 10 favorite features of my home tool. Now, can somebody tell me, did I add that to the email that was sent out last night? Top 10 favorite features. Should have been maybe a PDF.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I have that.
Yes.
Okay, great. If anybody else wants it, tag me at the end or get my attention and I will send it to you. And you want to involve the sellers in the information gathering process. Somebody tell me why.
So that you both are on the same page of the benefits of what they offer in their home, what they have to have, we're seeing it the same way. Maybe that's the better way to say that.
Great. Yep, that's a good answer. Anybody else?
Gets them engaged with you and the process so that it is a partnership to get it sold.
Yes, I like what you said, partnership. So somebody like me, I'm a type A, I'm a high D. You put me in the driver's seat, boy, I am gone. I forget to look over at you, the passenger. I forget you're there. So a lot of times I forget to involve my people and I look back and they're like, where's he going? Where's he going? So this, even though you're driving the process, you want them to feel like they own it. Okay. Now we don't want them to take over. That's when you start losing control. But you do want to make them feel very comfortable and like they're sitting beside you in the driver's seat. Okay. Not the back seat. So good answers. Let me give you a couple. Go ahead.
I was going to say too, like if they're anything like my daughter-in-law, so some of you are out there townhome, she will tell you everything that's been updated. She'll tell you everything that's been fixed, everything that they add, that adds value or whatever, or what she thinks will add value. So I think even things that you may not see or notice, if you get them talking, and they may disclose some things that, some latent defects that you may not have gotten otherwise if you just let them talk.
Right.
So
yeah, good. All good, Aaron. Yep. And in fact, I was going to give you my kind of my tips for how I do a listing consult. So as you're entering the home, you've gotten there on time, you made a good impression, you're dressed to impress. And when you walk in, what I do is when I know I'm going to a listing consult, I have already gathered the information I can find on MLS, recent solds, under contracts, and any coming soons. So I know exactly what's going on, okay? I know the price point of the community. I know what the upgrades are in that community. So I step into the house with my clipboard, and here's what I greet them and say hello. And the first thing I do, because you kind of want to set the pace for the interview, right? The consult. As soon as I step in the door and we make introductions, I say, hey, do you mind if I take the first few minutes and just preview your property? It'll take about 15 minutes, and I'd love for you to go with me because I'll have some questions for you. Nobody says no to that. So on my clipboard, I have my CMA tucked underneath, okay? I'm not talking about pricing yet. That's going to be last. So as I'm going around the house, I start at the front of the house like a guest would coming in the front door. I move from the front door foyer area throughout the main area. And when I go to each room, here's what I do. I have two little sections for each room. One is improvements and one is upgrades. And so what I'll do is what needs to be improved in that room, I'll make a little note. If it's soiled carpet, I'll put carpet cleaned or replaced. If there's a chandelier in there, I'll put upgrade. If there is any kind of custom molding, I'll put it under upgrade. Okay. So what I'm doing is already walking through the room, I'm eyeballing what are the things that might make an appraiser give more and what would make them give less as far as value. Does that make sense to you guys? And then I do that from each room. And then I go upstairs. If there's an upstairs, I do those. And then when we go down, I say, hey, is there somewhere we could sit and chat for a few minutes? So you see already in that 15, 20 minutes of that home tour, I am building more rapport, okay, that you can't build over the phone. So they've asked me questions. I've asked them questions. I've probably learned about their kids because I'm asking what's the kids' names, what's the dog's name, all that good stuff. So if you don't have to follow my system, but I've done that for the last, I don't know, probably 12 years, and it seems to work for me. Plus, I need that organization for me. That helps me. That's just the system I set up for myself. And as you can tell, the sellers, they're right there with me the whole time. So it's like we're working in a partnership together. And then the funny thing is, by the time we go and sit down, they've already learned something new from me about either their neighborhood, that property, or the market. And I've learned something new about them. So it's a win-win.
Hey,
Now,
Tommy, can I
yeah.
add a little bit to that?
Sure.
The other thing too is not just are you looking at value, you're also looking at what is going to appeal to the buyers that are coming in.
Say that one more time.
You're not just looking at what the appraiser is going to find value in, you're also looking at what are buyers coming in going to look at and assess as well.
Awesome. That's great. Does everybody understand what Michelle said?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So Michelle, what I hear you saying is we not only have to have our listing hat on, but also our buyer hat.
Well, it's the listing hat, but it is looking at it through the buyer's eyes. What is a buyer going to be, what are they going to think is great? What are they going to be turned off by? Is there, if this carpet is stained or soiled, that not only decreases value, but it also affects what the buyer's potential offers could be. And looking at it through the buyer's eyes too. As a listing agent, I feel like it's partially our responsibility to do that as well, because then we're doing the best for our sellers.
And I'm a believer that if you're upfront and truthful, just very honest with your clients, they will appreciate that. They might not like it. For example, if you say, well, if a buyer coming in here sees that pink foyer, that's going to be a turnoff. But if it's neutralized, it's going to make, hey, look, I hope everybody knows that we buy on emotion. We may research with logic, but we buy on emotion. When somebody walks into a house and they see something that's not pleasant to their eyes, mentally and emotionally, it does something to them. Think about it the next time you go somewhere. What do things cause you? How do they cause you to react? So having the hard conversation up front, like, you already know going into that consult, they think their house is worth $20,000 more. Hitting that head on up front will bring you a lot of less pain. Okay. That may be the difference of selling versus not selling that property. If you don't win them over up front, you're not going to win them. You're probably not going to win them on the back end. one thing I do want to say is I said to be honest and be truthful with them, but don't be brutal. Don't beat them up. I've on occasion have gone into a property and I felt like after I left, I was a little mean about it. I remember I was referred um, to a listing consult by, let's just say they were clients of my wife's business. So I got there and I pretty much kind of thought I'm probably 85% have this listing. So I went in and it was a smaller house and really there was some things that really needed to be, the paint, there was some paint issues, let's put it that way. It needed to be neutralized. And I was very upfront about it. They seemed to think, okay, we agree with you. I didn't win that listing. They found an agent who said it wouldn't be an issue and they listed with them. I think because I pushed it a little more than maybe I should have, then if I'd have left, well, you do what you want to do. But anyway, you won't win everything, by the way. So don't feel bad. If you do the right thing, you're honest and you don't win the listing. But do know how to position yourself to win business, okay? You're here to feed your family. It's not a popularity contest or anything like that. Literally, this is your business. Your family depends on it. So let's talk about marketing and pricing strategies. Well, first, we talked a little bit about selling yourself, but what do I mean by selling yourself? When I say sell yourself, one of the philosophies that we started Realty One Group Revolution with, having come from other real estate companies, big companies, where the company wants to be first. This company is different. This company is all about you. The Realty One Group brand is the overall support system for you, but you are here to market your business. You're here to market you. This is Ty Anderson Incorporated, or whatever you want to call it, okay? Because at the end of the day, people don't list because of a brand on a sign. They used to. Today, people list because they trust you, okay? They want to do business with you. So what do I mean by sell yourself? Now, I don't mean oversell. Don't be a pompous, arrogant agent, because that's not what people want. They want somebody who's confident, who can lead them, who can tackle the issues and push through emotion, okay? They want you to be a superhero for them, but you're simply going to be yourself. Your company, the advantage of talking about the company in your listing presentation is that we are an international company. We we are an organization that's networked where you have agents in different states, different territories. So we have a reach that's bigger. Let's just say the local boutiques may be good here, but we're good in a lot of different places. So those are just a few. Lead with value. Even in selling yourself, lead with value. What will help your client? Okay. Just talking about yourself all day is not leading with value. But leading with value is what I and my company have to offer you. Okay. And then help the seller think like a buyer, just like Michelle Graves said. And that is really important. If they can step outside of themselves and look, you're not going to take the emotion out of the sale, but what I'll do like to tell them is, look, I say point blank, have you made the decision to sell this property? And when they say yes, I say, well, I want you to think like the potential buyer is thinking, okay? They still don't always do it. All right. When we're talking about pricing strategies, you want to include the months of inventory that we have in the market. The last session we had, I showed you a graph of what's a buyer's market, what's a seller's market, and what's balanced. Who can tell me what kind of market we're in right now?
Crazy.
Yep,
Crazy, for sure.
it is crazy.
Sellers,
Who can tell me how, oh, yep, thanks. Who can tell me how many months of inventory we have? Or weeks,
less than 1 month.
which is still crazy, right? It's crazy. I still want to tell you, agents, don't get used to this being the market. I hope it's not going to be. Usually the market is more of a balanced market, meaning we have 6 months plus of inventory, right? So anyway, let's talk about competition quickly. Do we like competition?
Sure, keeps us on our toes.
Of course, we get to learn.
Great, good answers. What else does competition do? What has it done for this market?
It lessens your chances of winning. True. But does it not make us sharper? Does it not make us dig deeper?
We have to
Yes.
sharpen our tools.
Yes. Yes,
Does it
does.
not make us become strategists?
Yes.
Always
So-
looking beyond.
Right. And that will help grow you more than anything else, more than any workshop, any real estate school, is the actual practical learning and application of just being in these different markets. So let me move some icons around right quick. All right. So I want you to look at this graph and notice with me, on the left side, if you list a property and you get asking price in relation to market value, this is the left side, the left column, top to bottom. On the right side is percentage of potential buyers who will look at the property. Okay. So if we have a list price that's 15% above market value, we have 10% of potential buyers looking at it. Okay. If we have a list price that's 10% above market value, it jumps to 30% of potential buyers who look at it. Can anybody see the trend that's going on here? You can unmute and say yes or whatever.
Yes.
If this is the only
Yes.
thing you learned today, I want you to understand this. And I'm going to give you my soapbox on it. Let's just go down to the next one. If you list at market value, then the number of potential buyers jumps to 60%. Okay. All right. Hold that line. Now begin to look at what happens when you go 10% below market value. You got 75%, and then 15% below, you have 90%. That tells you something about people, about buyers. Not all buyers are going to buy your house at worth, at market value. Okay. You got at least 30% of buyers who want a deal. They're not going to move until they think they're getting something under market value. Okay. They may be investors, they may be whatever. But what I want you to understand is all buyers are not a target for your strategically priced listing, okay? So already we're only hitting a certain segment of the potential buyer market. So you better very well, you better do a good job in pricing your listing. Or the potential is, even in this market, you won't get looked at. And I know some of you are going to say, well, anything will sell in this market. No, that's not true. If you list a property too high, here's what happens. You have agents like me that look at it and say, well, that agent doesn't know what they're doing. All right, skip that one, because they're not going to be reasonable. Then you got buyers who are just as savvy as agents because they have access to information. They're going to skip it too. Okay. So, and it's even more predominant in a different market, a more balanced market, but you have to price accordingly. And we'll talk about another reason why here in a minute. Any questions on that? So what's the aha here?
Buyers want a bargain.
Okay. That's one. What's the aha for you, the agent?
Be
That
knowledgeable
seller-
of the market and don't overprice something. You
Right.
still got to be fair.
What I want you to take away is what I said earlier. Even if you price it perfectly, you're not pricing it for 100% of buyers. Okay. See, I didn't know that early on. I thought, okay, if I price it right, every buyer that's out there looking, they're going to be jumping on it. Not true. Because you have buyers with different ideas of why they're buying. Okay. Why they're looking, why they're buying. Again, some of them, unless they think they're getting 20% off of market, they're not going to pull the trigger. Which that wouldn't be a buyer for you anyway. I'm just telling you, that's not the buyer you want, but I want you to understand that you're only hitting a certain segment of the market. All right. What's the aha from this slide? Somebody that hasn't spoken up. No wrong answers here, okay? We're all learning.
Well, if we don't have that house priced in a way that it will speak to the market, it will be on the market longer and we'll have to drop our listing price,
That's right. Okay.
which doesn't look good either, because if we're backing up, then we didn't do it right in the first place.
Right. The first 2 weeks on the market traditionally are the most crucial days on market for your listing. First impressions matter. It doesn't matter what type of business you're in. When a property stays on longer, people question, they wonder, something's wrong with it, something happened to it. If you'll notice, like when a property goes under contract, then it comes back on, agents will automatically give a reason why in remarks. Fell out of financing, buyer couldn't keep financing or whatever. They want you to know, hey, it's not our fault. There's nothing wrong with this property. Come get it. So, but yes. And again, people buy on emotion. So if a house has been on the market 14 weeks, they think something's wrong with it. And to be honest, there probably is. All right. Step 5, ask for the listing. So, all right. So we've gone to this listing consult. We've gotten there on time. We're dressed right. We get in, we make introductions. We do the home tour. We sit down. We've talked about comps. We've talked about pricing. Now, here's something most agents forget to do. They forget to say, would you like to sign right now? So let me show you how to ask for the listing. Okay. So let's go through these right quick. So be patient. Don't be that pushy agent. You won't get an invite back. I can't tell you how many listings I've won because the agent before me was pushy. Okay. And keep in mind, just because you're going on a listing consult doesn't mean you're the only agent they're interviewing. In fact, I think one of the questions on that pre-list questionnaire is, are you interviewing other agents? And it's okay to ask them. And usually, a good line is if they say, yes, we're interviewing other agents, I would say, that's great. You should. This is probably the biggest financial decision you'll make. And so, just validate that, but let them know you're the one that's right for the job. So be patient, ask questions, encourage questions, never cut them off, never make them feel like they don't have any input. Encourage discussion between your clients, whether they're married or whatever. Whoever is in ownership. By the way, I didn't say this before. When you go to a listing consult, make sure you can talk to both parties if there's two sellers, okay? What you don't want to do is have a conversation with somebody, the other owner party is not there, and then you have to go back and fix. I'll just tell you, when people, both parties need to be on the listing consult, unless in very few situations, one husband or wife or whatever will say, it's okay, meet with so-and-so. But what I found is when somebody meets ahead of time by themselves without the other spouse gets a little heartache about it. So just be careful with that. Include seller in the decision-making process. All right, so at this point, you have reviewed your motivations, timing, concerns. You've discussed qualifications, market information. You presented your market research, pricing, comps. Now, one of the things that you'll discuss, so I'm just trying to decide what I'm going to skip here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think I'm done here. Okay. Once you have presented your pricing for the property, and by the way, I think last session I told you how I do it. I give them 3 price points. I give them a high market price. And I'll tell you why. So if the house is worth $300,000 in this market, I'll say, okay, we can list at $325. Okay. Well, in this market, okay, so, all right, number one, this training is for more of a balanced market because I want you guys to know how to do real estate in a general balanced market. What we have now, when we have these offline discussions and updates, we tell you how to adjust based on current market conditions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a top of the market range. I'm going to give them my best listing price, and then I'm going to give them a quick sell price. I do that in every market. And the reason I do it is because I don't want them to laser in on one specific price, okay? And here's why. When you tell somebody you can sell their house at, let's say, $325,000, they get tunnel vision. They can't think outside of that. And if you have to drop the price, it's just they're having a bad day. So what I do is I tell them top of market, it might sit for 2 weeks before we get an offer, $325. If you want to offer as soon as it goes on the market, we need to list at $305. If you just need to get out of the house, I can tell you we can draw, I mean, whatever, we can probably draw a cash offer and close in 5 days at $297, whatever. When I give them those 3, it's like I'm giving them options, okay? And it's up to them. If they want to be smart, which one are they going to pick? Well, they always want to go to the top one, right? Well, in this market, it's okay. But in a market 2 years ago, they would go to my best pick, which was the second price, because it's what's going to sell like now. Okay. So it just, and the reason I want them to pick the second one, and sometimes when they pick the first, after a couple of weeks, they end up coming down to my price point, but at least you're giving them an option. You're making them feel a part of the process, and it's not me just dictating listing price point. All right. We haven't talked about objections yet. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about your process and giving them the 3 ranges is if they take you all the way to the top and then you do end up in the normal market with a price reduction, they're not blaming you. They are realizing that you were correct. You gave them the option, you went with their price, but now they're actually coming, and it's not a blame game. So they're not mad at you at that point either. So that's a really good strategy.
Exactly. And thanks for that, Michelle. And by the way, in more of a balanced market, there's also another strategy that you can write up in your listing agreement and have your sellers agree to. A lot of the big teams do this, but they'll have something written up to the effect that agency is for what, 6 to 12 months. We're going to list your house at X. After 2 weeks of every 15 days of no offer, the price will be dropped by $2,000 or something like that. So that's a strategy. I wouldn't do that in this market. You don't need to do that. As you all know, if you price it, it's gone in a day, maybe two now, but just keep that in mind. Okay. So you're going to close on the listing, meaning you're going to tie this business up, right? You're going to get them to sign. So number one, make sure you clearly ask for it, okay? Be positive, enthusiastic, and you can say something like this. I am really excited about helping you get your home sold, and I'm so confident we will be successful. Are you ready to get your home on the market now so we can get you on to your new home in X number of days or whatever it is? It's because you already know that information because you've asked them. Find a way to ask for the business then. One line has been, is there anything that would stop you from signing with me today? I don't really like that, but what I would say, I would pull out my listing agreement that I hand printed and it's under my clipboard. It's already filled out, except for there's, some information that I might, I didn't put the list price yet because we haven't decided on it, but I can get them to sign it right there. Okay. You want to try to build enough rapport, and look, even if you don't think it, ask them anyway. All they can do is say no. Or they may say, I need more time to think. If they say I need more time to think, say, I would, great. Can you guys have that conversation? I'll drop by at 6 p.m. tomorrow, or something like that. And if they already tell you up front, we do digital, we don't like to meet, then you tell them something like, well, great. Can I get back with you tonight? And I can email you all the paperwork. Make it real easy for them. Again, sellers are looking for a go-getter, somebody that's assertive with a can-do, fearless attitude. And even if they don't tell you this is what they're looking for, okay? They want you to fight for their home and get the highest price. So demonstrate to them that you can be that agent. And then we're going to complete the listing paperwork, okay? Which is not what we do in this session, but you've already had access to it. I will entertain questions about listing paperwork. Let me see. So again, fill out in advance as much as possible. So you know that whether you're using Zip Forms, SkySlope, whatever, you can still fill out your listing paperwork in advance, okay? And just have it quickly ready to go. Because if they say, hey, yeah, we're ready, we've made a decision, we want to go, don't wait 2 days to get them paperwork. Don't be that agent. You go right home, get it done, get it to them. Show them that you're motivated. Now, if something comes up where you have to be out of town, this is where you need a partner, somebody to help you get your paperwork done, okay? Don't call the BIC and say, do my listing paperwork. Have one of your agents, friends here in the company, do some trade out. I'll help you if you help me. It's the best way to work in real estate is to get somebody you can partner up with, somebody you kind of see eye to eye, kind of do business the same way. And that's the good thing about showing up for training, so you can meet each other. All right. Automatic price reductions. I mentioned that. I'm not going to really go over that right now. Again, it's not pertinent for this market, but does anybody have a question about it? Okay. Showings and seller reporting. Okay, so you have the listing, right? So let me just go through a few lines that I have. The beauty of using a Supra lockbox, right? That it electronically records information from every agent who shows the property. When at all possible, put a Supra on your listing. However, there may be a reason why you want to use a combo lockbox. Supra boxes are about 95 bucks brand new. You can get them maybe 60, 70 bucks used. Try the Realtor store with Canopy. A combo box will cost you about $28 at Lowe's. What I do is, especially if it's under coming soon and I have a painter or measure or photographer going in, I'll start out with a combo box. But as soon as all those people are finished and before showings, I'll trade it out for a Supra box. Because guess what? I want it to look professional, and I want all of that information recorded about showings that you can't get from a lockbox, combo box. It's still customary to collect business cards at showings. I'm one of those. I don't think it's necessary, but I would say still carry on that. And please make sure that you're the agent that replies with feedback, okay? You don't have to give a whole life story on a feedback, but please at least give pertinent feedback. You would want it if you were the listing agent.
Tommy?
Yeah.
Doesn't showing time give you all that information about the other agent as well?
Yeah, but if you get in a legal situation, somebody accesses that property unauthorized, if you've got a Supra box, that's your best friend, okay? And I kind of was speaking on the part of the buyer doing the showing, but let me back up. If you're the seller, you're protecting yourself. That Supra box is an insurance policy for you. Just trust me on it. Showing time is not working for you, okay?
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
The other thing on the Supra boxes is you can set up a time limit. So for example, no one can access that property. The lockbox will not open before say 9 a.m. and it won't open up after 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. So nobody can sneak into the property outside the showing windows.
Right. Absolutely. So, and I don't know if any of you know how to do that, but if you have Supra boxes, actually go to the Supra website and look at the access you have to change information on your Supra box. Make sure that your brokerage and contact information is up to date. And we can talk about that more offline. Thanks, Michelle. All right, make the seller feel part of your team. Collect cards, if any, from the house. Watch the flyer box. If you use a flyer box, I don't think anybody uses them much anymore. But if you do use them, don't let them go empty. Nobody wants an empty flyer box. Besides, the client doesn't think you're doing your job if it stays empty. So right now in the age of electronics, it's easy to send all that stuff. Hang it. You can hang all your disclosures, all your not flyers, your disclosures online. Everything's pretty accessible. Contact the showing agents for feedback if they don't give feedback. I do that after a day. I'll start going through and texting through the app. Okay, let me just say this. I didn't say it before, but do not defend the listing or the price. Just report. Who knows what this means? All right, you're the listing agent, right? You got buyer agents calling you or sending you feedback. The listing is too high or whatever.
Well, you don't want to give away confidential information, right?
Right. Well, what this is kind of really speaking to is just maintain your professional demeanor. Um, look, the list price is the price negotiated by your seller, right? Or determined by your seller. What you don't want to do is be that agent that's like argumentative about the list price. You're not going to get anywhere with that. And it's really not professional. So what you can do is politely say, you know, my job is to represent my client in this listing. I will forward any thoughts that you have about the list price. Be cautious about the information you reveal. Like Aaron said, your job is to protect the seller. You only give the information they're allowing you to give. However, we can talk about this at another time, but if issues arise wherein something needs to be disclosed or something's brought to your attention that's a material fact that should be disclosed, then yes, that's when you would talk to your seller and say, hey, we need to add this to, the listing or whatever. Okay, an offer arrives on the house. This is step 6. These are just some one-liners. This is not comprehensive of the process, but don't prematurely contact your seller. Like if somebody texts you and say, hey, we're going to bring you an offer today, don't run over and tell your seller, hey, we're getting an offer today, because half the time you never get that offer. Wait till you have it in hand, okay? There are 2 ways to receive an offer: in person or electronically. It's usually going to be electronic. Be prepared to provide a seller net sheet for each offer. So what I do is actually I attached a multiple offer spreadsheet for you guys. It has a net. And if you get multiple offers, you can use that to show your seller. But also in Zip Forms, there is a seller's net sheet, which shows them ballpark what they're going to walk away with. And I use that for every listing. It helps the seller understand that, hey, once they know what they're going to walk away with, they feel a lot more at ease about the process. When you're negotiating, when the offer comes in, make an appointment to consult with the sellers face-to-face, if possible. Even in these days of COVID, still people want to meet virtually. That's fine. If you need to, our offices are always open for meetings with your clients. If you think that's more professional. If the offer is not full asking price, don't withhold the information or try to sugarcoat it. Just say something like this: the offer is not full price, as I told you would most likely be the case. It does appear to be a strong offer, however. We'll go over the entire offer when we are together and discuss options and how we will answer the buyer. For example, in a different market, in a more balanced market, it would be customary to receive offers that are $10,000 below list price. But the buyer is just trying to find the seller's pain point. That doesn't mean they wouldn't come back up. Most times we would counter back up and then go under contract. So just because they offer less doesn't mean they'll pay the price or won't pay the price. So if it's really a low ball, like 30, 40,000 under, and it's unrealistic, then say something like this: I'm afraid the offer is rather off the mark. However, the buyers went through the trouble of putting it in writing, so let's give them the courtesy of an answer. I will look forward to seeing you at X. So what the point is, don't ignore offers. In fact, legally and professionally, you should give a response to each offer. If it's multiple offer, you can say, hey, thank you for this offer, but we're receiving highest and best until X at 5 p.m. and your offer will be reviewed by the seller then. Or thank you for your offer, the seller has declined. Or thank you for the offer, the seller has countered with XYZ. Okay. And make sure that is in writing, like email, because you always need a record to refer back to. I think I've exhausted that page. All right, and when you're closing the sale, always remember to follow a checklist. You can hire a transaction coordinator, which will help you with a lot of this paperwork. However, if you're in the mentor program, we don't let you use a transaction coordinator until you've graduated, because we want you to learn how to do your paperwork initially, okay? You need to learn the forms, and this is the best way. Communicate with your clients often, and I would say some form of daily communication is the norm. So throughout the week, you have email, you have text, sometimes you have social media. I just recently had a buyer want me to download an app called Signal to communicate with him. I didn't really want to do it, but for a $400,000 sale, I will do it. All right. After the sale, follow up. All right. So again, we're hitting the highlights. You want to send a thank you gift. Consider something that will sit in their house for a while versus something consumable. I know it's real easy to buy a bottle of wine, right? But why not buy a wine rack or a corkscrew with your name on it or a phone number on it, or I don't know. You guys can get more creative than I can. I've done a lot of different things over the years, but give them a closing gift that will help them remember you and refer you, okay? Ask for feedback. Ask them how you did. Now, be ready to you can't have your feelings on your shoulders, right? You need this feedback because it'll help you be a better agent. Ask them what you could do better or what you did very well, okay? They may tell you, sometimes they may not. Also, set up automatic reminders in your CRM, phone, whatever it is you're using. You want to know how to contact them, right? So you want to set that information up. You want to get them on a monthly newsletter if possible. Send them market updates, anniversaries, birthdays. Anytime you remember that, I mean, you're just giving yourself extra bonus points with that person. Social media, keep in touch if they're a social media person. However, let me say this. If they're not somebody that's on Facebook and doesn't want to be, don't try to get them to sign up for Facebook. Okay. Meet them where they're at. And then the one habit, I usually ask somebody to shout this out, but I'll just go over it. So the one habit is 3 calls a day, 3 new people you're calling to share your business, to get business from. Then you add those 3 people to your database. Then you write 6 handwritten note cards, 3 to the 3 people you just called, and then the other 3 to 6 other people in your database that you haven't touched lately. Now, if you have a CRM or you're using Commissions Inc., you can go and plug this stuff in. It's still somewhat manual. There are CRMs that once you plug in the information every day, it will tell you who to contact. So you just have to decide how you want to do it. I would highly suggest as a new agent that you use our CRM, Commissions Inc., that's attached to your website. It's free. It's there to use. Literally, honestly, all you need is a pen and a notebook and write this information down. And you have to be disciplined enough to sit down each day of the week or 3 times a week and build your database. Okay. Work on your database. Commissions Inc. will import emails, contacts from your Gmail account. So when you first set it up, you'll see that. For those of you who are using Home Actions newsletter, here in the near future, you're going to be able to pull contacts from your Sync CRM into your Home Actions newsletter. All right, let me pull up another form for you guys. Okay, real quickly, I wanted to show you this transaction timeline checklist that was in your email. What you should do is take these dates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put them into your phone, okay? Put them in your calendar. You need to know when these dates are coming, okay? So there's a spreadsheet if you want to use it instead.
Hey, Tommy, we can't see what's on your screen. It looks frozen. Either that or it's my screen. It's all white.
Okay, hold on.
I too. It is.
Yeah, it's frozen.
Okay, hold on. Let me check something here. Stop share. Let me unshare and then share again. Oh, I know why. That's my fault. Okay. Can y'all see my screen now?
Yes.
The
Yes.
mobile offer worksheet. Okay. I already X'd out of that other document, but it was a spreadsheet. It's a timeline. Basically, just what's on it. That for each transaction, I would just, that's the information I would put in my phone, dates and times to remember. Remember, time is of the essence, so you don't want to miss an escrow date. All right, so this is the multiple offer worksheet I was telling you about. So as a listing agent, the offers that come in, I mean, here's 5, you can add to this. One thing you might want to add in this worksheet as well is, I thought I had it in here, but under financial terms, add due diligence fee. There's earnest money, seller concession, down payment, loan amount. You might want to add the due diligence fee here. Okay. And
Are you
then
going to send that to us, Tommy?
it's in that email.
Okay.
If it's not, let me know and I'll email it to you here at the end. And if you'll look down at the bottom, it takes this information and gives you a net offer. So if you go back up here, offers 1 through 5, you'll see that offer 2 gives the highest net. So again, that's a quick and easy way for your seller to look at the different offer criteria. Okay. All right, I'm going to X out of this. And this is what, okay, this is gravy here. Okay, one thing I really, I always had difficulty with is my listing description, okay? When you look at them, what other agents do it sounds like, man, it's great. But then when it comes time to list yours, it's like, what's my description gonna be? Well, if you follow this formula, okay? Can't tell you where I got this, but anyway, this is awesome. It's the bomb. So if you use this template, just fill in those brackets, and this will be the greatest listing description you can put up. Everything won't apply to you, so you can just exit out. But here's what it looks like in this example. Can y'all see my screen? Can y'all read that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna read it real quick. So think of this. So I have a listing. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna promote it. So I followed this template, and here's what I come up with. Stunning Branding Oaks home just hit the market in Indian Trail. This beautiful brick home features 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, and 2,817 square foot of living space. The main floor features an open floor, high ceilings, oversized windows. Yeah. Anyway, then I talk about the kitchen. This gorgeous home also boasts a downstairs bedroom and bathroom for the convenience of out-of-town guests or multi-generational living. During the summer, entertain in style under the huge covered patio. So basically it gives you a systematic way to highlight different parts of the property. Okay. So use this. You're going to need it when you get that listing. I promise you're going to get to the listing description in MLS. You're going to be like, and you only have so many spaces available or word count, right? Okay. That's all I wanted to show you or actually highlight out of the attachments that I sent you. If you need those attachments, go ahead and drop me your email in the chat box and I'll keep it up until I get those out to you.
Yeah, it was in the email, Tommy. They were there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So there may be some people on RevUp that didn't or do not get the email. If you are, just let me know. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. Let me stop the recording.